Washington Commanders are making a huge offseason mistake right now. And on today's edition of the Commanders Report, I'm going to be telling you what that big mistake is and how the Commanders can still fix it here before we get going in the 2026 NFL season. Welcome into the Commanders Report. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Before we get into the content today, get us started down there in the comments section by letting me know how good of a job have the Commanders done so far this offseason. Put it on a scale of 1, meaning they've done an absolutely terrible job, to 10, meaning they've done the best job that they possibly could do during this offseason. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section and give me a scale of how good Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, and this Commanders front office have done so far this year. Now, in my opinion, guys, the big mistake that the Washington Commanders are currently making this offseason is how they're currently handling the center position heading into this 2026 campaign. And right now, according to Dan Quinn, who spoke at the NFL owners meetings in Phoenix last week, the two current competitors to be the starting center for the Washington Commanders in 2026 are Nick Allegretti and Julian Good-Jones. And for me, guys, this is not a good enough center room or competition going into the season, and the Commanders absolutely need to add to this group at some point during the rest of the offseason here, whether that's a veteran, whether that's a rookie in the NFL draft. And the reason why, guys, is pretty simple. I don't trust Nick Allegretti as a starting caliber center. He's never really played center at the NFL level outside of a couple snaps from last year when Tyler Biadasz got injured in the season finale. But, he's been mostly a guard throughout his career. And even then, he hasn't been a terrific guard. He's been replaced at left guard by first Brandon Coleman and then Chris Paul last year. He was so bad at it. And then this year, this year, we're just going to expect him to make this easy transition to center. I just don't think that that's a good plan. I think that's a very risky plan that Dan Quinn and Adam Peters currently have slated for us at this given position. This is an important position in this offense, man. Not only is he in charge of the quarterback center exchange every single play, touches the ball every time the Commanders offense lines up, but also, you got to create run lanes and open things up for Bill and Rachaad White and all these guys that you have in this running room, and you got to protect the quarterback. So this is no small feat here. This is a big position for the Washington Commanders offense heading into the 2026 season. And, in terms of the other option, Good-Jones has never even taken an NFL regular season snap along the offensive line. This is not something that, I want to go down here. And as much as I don't love Nick Allegretti, I think right now he absolutely would be the starting center for the Washington Commanders if Washington had to play a game today. Now, if I'm looking back here and I look at the move to let go of Tyler Biadasz, who was under contract heading into this season, I think that, that's a move that I don't particularly love at this juncture in the offseason. Now, there's still room to fix this error, but I think, Biadasz was better than Nick Allegretti. I think he's definitely better than Julian Good-Jones. And it's not like Biadasz was, fantastic last year, all right? And, his cap hit was getting higher and all that different stuff, and I understand that the Commanders didn't want to pay that, but Biadasz was a very solid starting center. He wasn't great, but he was fine. And right now, you go from fine to really bad and really risky, and that is not a downgrade that I am going to accept from the Washington Commanders this offseason. Now, you might be saying at home, but Jack, we'll just address this position in the draft. Why are you panicking? And it's certainly possible that the Commanders could address this need in the NFL draft this year. But here's the problem, guys. After watching all the center prospects in this year's NFL draft on film, I think this year's center class absolutely stinks. I don't think that there is really a lot of centers in this class that can go in and be a starting center in this league from the word go. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. We're going to be breaking down some of the top center prospects here in the draft in just a second here, but I want to hear your take down there in the comment section first. Do you trust Nick Allegretti as our starting center for the Washington Commanders offense this year? Type T if you trust him. Type D if you do not. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section for today's pinned question. Just a second here, I'm going to tell you about today's sponsor. While I tell you about our sponsor today, give me a T for trust or D for don't. And if you guys want to pick up an awesome piece of Commanders apparel for the summer heading into the 2026 season, we have these Scary Terry McLaurin t-shirts available on our website right now for $29.99. Chatsports.com/scary is the link. That link is down there, and it's clickable down there in the comments and description of today's show. All you have to do is click that link. It's going to take you right to our website where you guys can make a purchase here. It comes in 3 different colors: black, red, and then my personal favorite, white. I love the paint splatters in the background. I love the scary mask on there, the Scream mask, I should say. And I think that this is the type of t-shirt that your friends, your family, fellow Commanders fans are going to stop you and say, man, that t-shirt is absolutely sweet. Where did you get it? And I hope that when they say that to you, you point them in our direction here. Tell them you got it from the Commanders Report by Chat Sports. So again, guys, chatsports.com/scary to pick up your t-shirt today. Greatly appreciate your guys' support. All right, so let's take a look here at the top 10 center prospects in the NFL draft this year, according to the consensus big board. We have on screen where they currently rank on the consensus big board and where you can kind of expect to get these types of players. And for me, man, there is not a whole lot of prospects here that really strike my interest. Connor Lew, I agree, is probably the best overall center prospect, but I think, 20 years old, he doesn't have a lot of strength to his game. He's got to fill out his frame a bit. I think he's got good potential, but I don't think he's somebody that I'm really looking at right now. We'll talk a little bit here about Sam Hecht and Logan Jones and Jake Slaughter here in just a second, but Brian Parker II from Duke is going to have to make the transition from tackle to center. Same thing goes from Trey Zune from Texas A&M. I'm not a big fan of the traits on Matt Golban from Michigan State. Parker Brailsford might be one of the least strong center prospects I have seen on film in a long time. Jager Burton is also a guy that's kind of struggled with some strength concerns. He's athletic, but he looks slow to me on film. Don't love Jager Burton, if I'm being completely honest with you. And Pat Coogan is a backup in this league, in my opinion. There's a reason why he's expected to go late day 3 this year. So at this point, guys, I think if I had to pick a center prospect in this year's NFL draft, I'd probably have to go with Sam Hecht out of Kansas State. I think that he would be the most ready to play on day 1 the most at this point. I think that he's smart. I think that he knows where he needs to be. I think his hand placement is decent. I think he's got serviceable strength, but I don't necessarily see him as somebody that's going to be like a high-end starting center in this league. Honestly, I see him as a pretty similar caliber player to Tyler Biadasz. And then we get to Logan Jones, another guy that has some strength deficiencies, in my opinion. But you guys know Iowa, they do as good a job as anybody at developing offensive line talent. And Logan Jones is a very smart player. He's very athletic. Honestly, he reminds me a little bit of Garrett Bradbury, who's like a very low-end starting center. Very athletic, very good with the outside zone stuff. Currently the center for the Chicago Bears, by the way. So if this offense is going to be kind of molded in kind of the Ben Johnson kind of mold here with new offensive coordinator David Blau, I could see Logan Jones potentially being somebody that Blau looks at as a potential starter here. And then in an emergency, I guess Jake Slaughter would be fine. I think that Slaughter is probably more of like a high-end backup. He's, I think that in an emergency situation where you feel like you absolutely got to take a center, fine. But like if you're spending your 3rd round pick on a guy like Jake Slaughter, who once again, not the best play strength, I'm not, too thrilled about that. If I'm being honest with you, I think there's better ways to use that number 71 overall selection, especially in a draft where you only have 2 top 100 picks. So if those guys are gone, I think you're taking a pretty big risk on somebody that hasn't played center before or just has certain tendencies in his game where he's not ready to play day 1, at least based on his college film. Like you could maybe take a chance on Connor Lew and hope that he takes that big step forward. He's already put on some poundage. Maybe, that means he's put on some strength as well, and he'd be more ready to play on day 1 than maybe I'm giving him credit for. Maybe that is the case, but it's a risk. It just is at this point. And I think that the way that the Washington Commanders can fix this moving forward, guys, is signing a damn veteran center, okay? Because, like, the center prospects, I just don't love them this year. And honestly, I don't think that those guys would be much better than Tyler Biadasz. So I think that going out and getting a veteran center is probably the way that I would address this problem right now. And the good news is it's not too late to bring in a starting caliber veteran center. There's still multiple still available on the free agency market. The top names to keep your eye on are Graham Glasgow. By the way, played in Ben Johnson's offense as his starting center for multiple years. I've been trying to get the Commanders to sign him for weeks now. Ethan Pocic, formerly of the Cleveland Browns, has had a couple down years here recently, but he's got a lot of experience and a formerly Pro Bowl caliber center. Lloyd Cushenberry, another guy that played very, very well in Denver, and then he goes to Tennessee and he's just not playing at the same level, but a lot of experience. And then Andre James, somebody with a lot of snaps at the NFL level as well. But personally, man, I think that the answer here is kind of right in front of the Commanders' face. And I would sign Graham Glasgow yesterday if I could. Like, this guy is absolutely still a good center when he's healthy. Now, maybe he's considering retirement. Maybe that's part of the equation here, and the Commanders are being patient. I don't know exactly what's going on here. All I know is that going with Nick Allegretti and Julian Good-Jones, and those are your only center options, I don't think is a good plan for this Washington Commanders team heading into 2026. But another benefit of signing a veteran center, guys, is that it gives you a bit more freedom in the NFL draft this year. Because right now, I think there's two pretty glaring needs on the Commanders roster, wide receiver and center. And because you only have two top 100 picks as it stands right now, you got to pretty much address both of those needs with your first two draft selections. And because there's definitely not a center worth your first round selection, that means you got to go receiver in round one. And you got to almost pigeonhole yourself to that position. And I don't want to do that. I would rather have more freedom to draft a Sonny Styles if he falls to me, a Caleb Downs if he falls to me. If there's a player that plays on defense or something like that where you just can't miss on that player, or if you want to go get Jeremiah Love, I want to have the freedom to be able to do that instead of the current situation where it kind of feels like you got to get a wide receiver one of the future in round one, and then you got to get center in round three. So if you sign a center this year, guys, that fixes the problem, right? Because you don't have to draft one in round three anymore, and you can really widen your search in round one outside of the wide receiver position. If you really love Sonny Styles, if you really love Caleb Downs and they fall to you, you can take a defensive player there in round one. And also, that opens you up to potentially draft a wide receiver in round three. Like, I think there's a lot of really good depth at the wide receiver position this year. There's going to be a lot of good, high-quality, starting caliber wide receivers available in round three this year. So if I'm the Washington Commanders, I would be trying to sign one of these veteran centers before the NFL draft so I have the freedom to be able to widen my search in both of the first two picks here and make the right pick for the team when it arises. So make the call for me down there in the comments section. Should Washington sign another veteran center this offseason? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section. For me, guys, it is an easy yes answer, but let me know your thoughts on this position down there in the comment section. Now, before I go here, guys, we do have a little bit of a tease of the new uniforms. We got it from the team today on their social media. They posted a video of all the new players that they signed in free agency, opening the new uniforms and kind of reacting to them, and they were very positive, and you guys can see that they kind of had a little slip of the new jersey. It's right there on the bottom where you got some white in there, you've got some burgundy, and you've got some gold. Like, I obviously you can't really tell what it looks like, but certainly intriguing for sure. But it also looks like we're getting a black uniform of some variety as well. Van Jefferson opened his package, and you guys can see in that little bottom left corner that there's a little black smudge there, and that's probably the uniform that he's opening. So something like this, guys, from Dula Vision, I want to give the proper credit there, would be absolutely sweet. To have the black Arrow helmets would be just absolutely awesome, and I think that would work really well. Like, if you guys know me, if you've been watching the channel, you guys have been hearing my commentary on the new uniforms. I want the spears on the helmets. All right, I want a black alternate version of it. Like, I think that would be really, really cool. I think that's the perfect way to marry the past of this football team with the future, with the team kind of embracing more of a Roman-esque type of imagery. I think that's the best way to kind of bridge the past to the future here in DC, and I'm really hoping that they take a risk here and get away from that block W on the helmet. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. What's something that you hope the Commanders don't do with the new uniforms this year? You guys have given me a lot of takes about what you guys want to see on the new uniforms. What's something that you really don't want to see on the new uniforms this time around? Let me know you guys' takes down there in the comment section to finish up today's show. And that'll be it for today's edition of Commanders News and Rumors, brought to you by Chat Sports. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today. We're going to have more great content coming your way here throughout the week. We are planning on going live tomorrow, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday evening. So if you guys want to join us, obviously the NFL Draft is right around the corner. So if you guys have questions, you guys want to talk Commanders ball with us, we're going to have a bunch of great content for you guys tomorrow evening. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Till next time, guys, hail to the Commanders.